I was facing 30 years of life at one point. I put 2 people in a coma and got jumped. It was a total of 4 people that jumped me. And, luckily my cousin, one of the other security guards, happened to catch the fight, and him and 2 of the other security ran over there while I was getting jumped by 4 people, but put 2 people in a coma. I was facing 30 years, bro.
Yo, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. So for all those crazy people out there who never heard of your boy, who ain't tapped in, they don't know what's going on. PG County, Maryland is in the building. Give us your name and tell us what you do in a couple of seconds.
This your boy Bobby Daniels, CEO of Overnight Travel Bags. I'm a celebrity designer. That's what I do.
All right, so let's go back to where it all started for you in PG County, Maryland, with your brother, your mother, your pops, your moms, all of that. How did you fall in love with being an entrepreneur?
Oh man, listen, growing up in Bladensburg, that was a hustle. So I started literally doing stuff like walking dogs and shoveling snow and just grinding at an early age. I started doing landscaping at 12, right before my first job at McDonald's, then started working at downtown locker room. And yeah, bro, it was always more than one job for me. So the older I got, it just became more of from a corporate gig to becoming an entrepreneur, always wanted to work for myself.
Wow, that's what's up. That's what's up. So let me ask you this. When you was cutting the grass and at McDonald's and stuff like that, before you got to McDonald's, who paid Bobby Daniels first? Who did you get your first dollar from?
Oh man, first dollar came from somebody in Gateway Gardens. It was somebody there. Because like I said, I was taking out trash and everything. So yeah, it was somebody in Gateway, man. I had, like I said, starting out having my own job at 12, just creating that own path for myself. Yeah.
So who, you said you got your first job in Gateway Gardens across the street from Blade High School. How much was Bobby Daniels charging at that time? Was you busting heads? Would you giving discounts? What was you doing back then in terms of pricing? How much were you charging people?
And I was like $10 per bag of trash, man. I was hustling for real. Bro. I mean, people didn't want to take the trash out, so they had to pay somebody to do it.
So how many? So you taking out the trash and stuff like that? How many bags was you doing? How many people was you hitting taking out their trash? Was it 1 or 2 or?
Daily, I hit at least 13 buildings. So I was getting at least 3 people per building minimum. So yeah, I was hustling, bro.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay.
For a 12-year-old, it was decent.
So you then went to Blade High School. You played football there. What's up? You was on varsity. What position did you play, and what position did you want to play when you got to Blade?
Oh man, I played D tackle. I was always a big kid, like pretty tall, but not heavy wise until, I think senior year. That's when I put on a lot of weight. But yeah, I was always pretty big kid, so I filled the holes pretty easy. No, pause. So I had to catch that. But yeah, I always played the D line, bro. Well, yeah, no, that was the only position I really was interested in. I mean, we had some phenomenal players, so I played my role and I was good, good at that position. So yeah, shout out to all the superstars that we had on the team back then.
All right, so let me ask you this: you played D tackle. Who was your game most like? I don't know, Warren Sapp, Aaron Donald. Who was your game most like in the NFL when you were in Blade?
Oh man, I looked up to Warren Sapp. I looked up to Reggie White. I looked up to Ebenezer Ekubon, who came from Blade, that came back to Blade and taught us how to play, from the Cowboys. So I looked up to a lot of superstars back in those days. I idolized Ray Lewis, even though he wasn't even in my position. He was just one of the hardest hitters. So, I studied his game a lot too. So That was pretty much it.
All right. So you playing football, your older brother, Mark Webb, he was linebacker playing at Blade. Did you ever have discussions with him like, yo, bro, I'm better than you. I might be younger, but I'm better. Or he was like, nah, you ain't on my level. Did that ever happen in the household in Gateway Gardens?
Nah, it never happened, bro. Never happened. No, Mark was way stronger than me. I remember being a youngin', just going up to Blade to the weight room and just watching them push up 225 and making that like a warm up. So that always became my, my starting point from watching them guys. And I mean, it wasn't Mark, but it definitely was his friends. Like I went smack at a couple seniors when I was a freshman, letting them know they wasn't stronger than me. And I did body one of them, but I ain't gonna put him out there though.
All right. Okay. All right. Yo, if you are just tuned in, you are tuned in to the Pimp Game Podcast, and we are here with the one and only Bladensburg High School's finest. That's right, Mr. Bobby Daniels, aka Bobby Bags, right here on the Pimp Game Podcast. So let me ask you this. We mentioned you being an entrepreneur. You first started out your career in managing Kevin Ross, the R&B singer, doing his thing. How did that go about? How did you get the gig to manage Kevin Ross?
Man, shout out to my little brother. Kevin's my god brother, and met that kid when he was 15 years old, and we just locked in. Like I said, that's just my little brother. So he came to me one day saying that he wanted to sing. He was a rapper when I met him, but he said he wanted to sing. So I just asked him, how can I facilitate that? And we've been rocking ever since. I mean, managed him for the first couple years of his career, then fell back to being like a road manager and a personal assistant. And like I said, now that's just at the end of the day, my little brother. Whatever you need, I got him.
All right. So was Bobby Bags giving out 360 deals when you was working with Kevin Ross? And what's up? What happened? Like, how did you go about doing that? Did y'all guys have a contract then, or you just say, yo, I'm managing you? It was a verbal kind of commitment type thing with the R&B singer?
Now I told my little brother like this, and it was just this plain and simple. I said, bro, as long as you're in this business, I got you. Period. My word is my bond. And like I said, whatever my brother need, he got it. That's just what it's always been.
Okay, so you working with him. What was the first gig that you got him? Because obviously you got to put some salt in the game. You got to put your weight in. You got to carry your weight, do your thing as a manager. What was the first gig that you got for Kevin Ross?
Hey, bro, it's crazy that you asked this because the very first gig that I got Kevin was 106 in Park. That was the very first gig that we did. Like, wow. Yeah, I took him up to 106. We did the audition. He landed a spot based off the audition. We went back like a month later. He did the R&B, the Wild Out Wednesday R&B challenge. Won that year. Then we did a couple of these shows in DC. We moved around a little bit up and down U Street to the open mics, like the Cadaves, DC Live, Pure, not DC Live, but DC Live, Pure, Bohemian Caverns. We did U Street heavy back in the day. That was like the spot. Like if you wanted to be in the scene, you had to be on U Street. So yeah, those were the very first couple of things that we did. Then we went back and did the national thing again. We did 106 in Park the following year. And then we did it a third time for the All-Star R&B Wild Out Wednesday competition, which he won. He won all 3 episodes. So yeah, those were some of the biggest things that we did starting out.
So let me ask you this: you mentioned 106 in Park. Was he there when was y'all there when Free and AJ was there? Or was y'all there when Bow Wow and his co-host was there? When was y'all there? With Free and AJ or with Bow Wow?
No, it was Terrence and Roxy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were coming in right after Free and AJ.
Okay. So it was still hot then, still doing your thing back then. So now when you talk to Kevin, I don't know, how is it now? Is it unbelievable where you have come, where he has gone? Is it surreal for the both of you, in particular you?
Oh, bro, it's been such an amazing journey watching his career, then watching my career transition, taking different phases in the music industry. watching him close major deals, go from being a major artist to an indie artist, still hitting number ones on the Billboard. Man, I'm super proud of Kevin. To my side, I didn't sign my artist Late Night Jiggy to Warner Chappell, so he signed on the Latin side to doing, 10,000 people arena with El Alfa. I had an artist open up for Bad Bunny. I didn't bodyguarded Bad Bunny. I didn't bodyguarded some of the biggest people. Asuna, Carol G, Becky G, Evie Queen, Plan B. Like, bro, like my career has just it's been huge on every aspect, whether it's the bodyguarding, the management, now the bags. So it's been an interesting journey over the last 20 years.
Wow. So let me ask you this. You mentioned, managing and things of that nature. What is Mr. Bobby Daniels looking for when you are managing an artist? What are you looking for? Are you looking for them to have the crowd, them to have the talent, a mixture of both? What is Bobby Daniels looking for in terms of an artist when you're looking to sign an artist?
I mean, each artist that I worked with, it's just been something special. Like, I feel like they've always took the initiative. They believed in themselves more than anybody else. And I just felt like I was able to amplify what they believed in. Then in order for me to work with somebody, I have to believe in you. So if I'm not touched by what I hear, then I'm not going to work. I'm not going to touch it. Every artist that I worked with, they did that for me. Whether it was Kevin, initially hearing my brother sing, and I was just stunned, like, whatever you need, to managing Animes. That's who I had open up for Bad Bunny and Asuna. When I first heard her, I was struck. I've never heard a uptown girl, from 14th and U Street, like uptown, do R&B Latin, like mixing bachata and R&B. So that to me had me, I was in a chokehold based off of her. And then going to Late Night Jiggy, who is a Trinidadian artist. Well, he's Trini American, but he speaks Spanish fluently. So him doing R&B and Latin and English and being able to write, playing the piano, drums, like this kid is just one of the most talented artists that I've ever heard. Who else? I managed Jana Brown, who did Tyler Perry. She was on one of Tyler Perry's movies. She just did American Idol. That's like my little sister. When I first heard her at 15 years old at a bachata brunch singing, I told her I had to manage her, and I literally managed her for a year before I ended up getting deployed. So, Mike Steele was another artist that I've heard that was just one of the dopest vocalists that I've ever heard. He went out to do American Idol, and I think he topped in like the top 10 or something like that. So he was another talented artist that I came across that I managed at one point. But it's just something, I hear something, I believe in it, and I just allow them to bring their talents to the table, and I just amplify it.
Well said, well said. So let me ask you this: the state of R&B now in music, I think it's been forgotten a little bit. What's your take on that? Do you think R&B is dead? Has it been forgotten? What do you think we could do to maybe revive R&B if it's not already gone?
Nah, it's not gone. It's a lot of talented R&B artists that's out there. Then you still got legends that's still killing it. You still got the new up and coming legends like the Kevin Rosses. You still got Chris killing it, Tank killing it. You got Trey killing. Payne about to come out. Well, Payne actually just dropped another project. You got Leon Thomas. Like, you got a bunch of dope artists. Lucky Day. Shout out to Lucky. I mean, like, you got so many. Lucky just got a Grammy. October London. Shout out to October. Like, it's so many. Yeah, bro. Coco Jones. Like, it's endless R&B artists. Like I said, that's still here. That's still killing the game. So I think R&B is going to be safe. I think it's good. It's in good hands.
Okay. All right. So let me ask you this. Give me Bobby Daniels' top 5 R&B artists right now. It can even be all time if you want to, but Bobby Daniels' top 5 R&B artists of all time.
bro, it's so many. Um, Top five, you got, of course, Kevin Ross. I can't even fake Kevin is definitely one of my favorite R&B artists. Um, Tank, you got Dave Hollister, you got SWV. Oh man, and I didn't even get to none of the classic artists, but let me see who can be my number one. Now, my number one is not. You said R&B. I'm gonna stick with R&B. It was
You
a
got two
gospel.
more, two more, two more.
Two more.
Yep. You named three.
October. October is actually one of my favorite, and Blast is one of my favorite.
Mm.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
Okay. I like
hold on, I got
good.
to spot somebody else because Pain is definitely on my
T-Pain.
top. Yeah, T-Pain is definitely on my top.
So hold up. Don't get me wrong. I like your five, but what's up? Chris Brown ain't in there. R. Kelly ain't in. Usher ain't in there. What is going on?
Nah, bro, listen, it's nothing against them artists, but it's something about I listen to certain artists for certain things. Like I listen to Chris, like that's the homie. I listen to Chris, but I don't listen to Chris every day. I like listen to certain music that fits my mood, and most of the time my mood is like an R&B ish message, gospel-y. You get what I'm saying? Like
Right.
it's a little different. Like it's a little different. Like I could listen to Kevin all day. I could listen to Payne all day. Yeah, but like I said, October, I could listen to October because October take me back to the 70s and 80s with his music. You see what I'm saying? So
Right.
I'm getting like best of both worlds when I listen to October. But yeah, I don't listen to Kales no more. And it ain't nothing against, whatever he had going on because I don't judge. I just don't listen to him.
Mm.
Yeah. I'm very particular with what I intake, bro.
Okay. Okay. All right. Very particular, Mr. Particular. I like that. I like that. I like that. All right.
Yeah,
Yo, if you are just joining us, you are joining us right here on the Pimp Game Podcast, where we highlight positive, intelligent, motivated people each and every single week. And today we got a special one. That's right. Blandingburg High School's finest, Mr. Bobby Daniels, aka Bobby Bags, right here on the Pimp Game Podcast. So let me ask you this. Let's transition a little bit. You were a security guard, security for a lot of people, artists, things of that nature. How did that come about, transitioning from managing to actually being security for artists all over the world?
bro. It was really interesting. It started with club security. I was just in the club one day. One of my boys was like, "Hey, can you watch that door? Don't let nobody through that door." So I'm like, "All right, cool." I'm literally standing, and this was club security, Latin club called Galaxy over in Linley Park. I don't know if you ever been there, but it's a hood spot, bro.
Mm,
Like MS-13, like rough. So they like, yo, it's an artist that's coming through. The artists happen to be some of the band members from Aventura, which is the biggest Latin group ever. Like Romeo Santos happens to be the lead singer, which is one of the biggest R&B bachata singers in Spanish. So they're like, hey, watch that door, don't let nobody through it. So I ended up like blocking the door. And as soon as the artist came out, I'm talking about like 300, 400 people rushed the door. And I'm over that joint, like pushing people back. And I'm like, damn, this kind of fun. like, like, man, it's kind of fun. Like, hold up, I get to be physical and they pay me for it. I was like, okay, like this is pretty dope. So it went
mm.
from doing that once a week to I actually was a chef at the Howard Theater, which is crazy. I went through culinary art school at PG Community College, got my certificate, went to Howard Theater, was doing an externship, and one day after chopping onions and peppers for like 4 hours, I was like, man, I can't do this no more. So
Ah,
the head chef took me upstairs and was like, hey, do me a favor, watch this door. Don't allow nobody to come through this door. So I said, cool. I stood at the door, and the owner of Howard Theater happened to walk up to me and tried to walk past me, and I wouldn't let him through. So he's like, yo, who are you? And I'm like, I'm a chef. He like, why are you at the door? And I'm like, because so-and-so told me to guard this door. If you want to get by, you need to go tell them to bring you to me to let you through. And he felt so disrespected. But
mm.
then after he went and got the person that told me to stand there, and they cleared him. I let him through. He ended up coming back and saying, "Hey, I need you to guard this door every night. Like, would you mind guarding this backstage door every night for me?" So I was like,
Oh
"Oh."
man.
So it
Okay.
went from that to literally going from the kitchen to the backstage door at Howard Theater, and me starting to build my relationships in the music industry with people like, Marsha Ambrosius and the Anthony Hamiltons, and meeting people like Lettucey and Frankie Beverly and Mays, and just legends, bro. Like everybody that came through the Howard Theater, they interacted with me in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So that got me to moving around a little bit outside of the theater.
Mm, okay. I like that. I like that. I like that. So let me ask this: when you being security with somebody, do you sometimes get nervous that you might have somebody crazy come out there try to do something wild? Is that on your brain sometimes?
Never.
Mm.
Bro, one thing that taught me from growing up in Bladensburg is keep your head on the swivel. So that I done been in some of the roughest areas and I've never felt threatened, bro. And that's,
Mm.
mainly because I got God and I keep God first. So I already know I'm protected. So nah, I don't never feel scared. I never feel, you know, unsafe. I just always keep my eyes open, keep my third eye open, just knowing what's around me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm. Okay. So, out of all your time in doing security, hold the door for people, not letting them in, they fussing at you, you still not letting them in. Anybody just try you? You ever had at least one incident where somebody tried Bobby Daniels?
Bro, listen, 632-0 from bouncing in the clubs, bro.
Well,
I done knocked out everybody for knocked out at least 1 to 2 people every night for the course of 17 years.
mm,
Literally every Saturday, Friday, Saturday, I fought at least 3 to 4 times a night, bro. So never lost a fight. But at this age, I'm not looking for it anymore either. So it's
right,
kind of like,
right.
but no, I mean, working in clubs, I was facing 30 years of life at one point. I put 2 people in a coma and got jumped. It was a total of 4 people that jumped me, and luckily, my cousin, one of the other security guards, happened to catch the fight, and him and 2 of the other security ran over there while I was getting jumped by 4 people. But put 2 people in a coma, I was facing 30 years, bro. So
Mm,
that then got jumped in another club where I ended up tearing my boss up. And I got jumped by 3 people there, ended up picking one of them up and throwing them and tore my
mm.
body. So, I mean, yeah, it used to get rough, but never lost the fight. And I was always good. I always lived
So,
by this. I always lived by, I'm going home to my child. That was always the thought at the end of the night. Regardless of what happened, I'm going home to my son. So never stirred me wrong.
so what was the final straw for Bobby Daniels when you were doing security? Like, man, I got to get out of here. I can't do this no more. What was the final straw for Bobby Daniels?
It's actually really crazy. At the time, I was bodyguarding EO. I'm out. We're at Air in DC. This was maybe about 2 years ago. We're at
Mhm.
Air in DC, and he offers me a drink. He's like, "Here, bro," and I'm like, "Nah, I can't drink." At this time, I had already designed some stuff for him, and he saw the potential in the brand, and he definitely is supporting the brand. So he's like, "Yo, celebrate with me. I see you, only a couple times a year. Whenever we hang out, it's always love. We chilling, or either I'm working or whatever the case may be." So he's like, "Have a drink with me," and I'm like, "Nah, bro, I'm working. I'm good." He looked at me. He was like, "Yo, nah, you can't be a designer and a bodyguard. You got to pick one." And I was
Mm.
like, you're right. Like, damn, you're absolutely right. And he was just like, "Have a drink. You're not bodyguarding. Relax." So I was like, "Oh shit!" Like, okay, and that was it for me. After that, I was just like, I can't be a bodyguard and a designer. I can't be out here knocking niggas out and then trying to sell some stuff and run into the same people. Like, it just don't make sense. So I put it into perspective, and I chilled out after that.
Right, right. Shout out to Neo for giving you that game right there. Shout
Hey,
out to
shout out
Neo.
to bro.
All right. Yo, if you are tuned in, you are just tuned in to the Pimp Game Podcast. We highlight positive, intelligent, motivated people each and every single week. And today we got a special one, Mr. Bobby Daniels, aka Bobby Bags. We're talking about how he started from managing artists all the way to cooking to bodyguarding, also now to doing his thing with overnight travel bags right here on the Pimp Game Podcast. So let me ask you this. Let's transition a little bit to the travel bags. What
Okay.
goes into a mind, someone's mental to start thinking about bags? Like everybody has them. Don't get me wrong, you need them. What goes into someone's mental to do travel bags, such as yourself? What goes into a person's mind to even start doing something like that in the entertainment world?
Oh, bro, it was actually a funny story. Me and my artist Late Night Jiggy was on our way to Amsterdam, and we're at the airport. And when he pulls up with like this purple duffel bag, and I was just looking at him, and it was like a cloth material. I'm like, bro, what is that? And it had like flowers and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, what is this? And he was just like, yo, you don't like my bag? Make me one. So I said, say less, I got you. So on the entire flight from Baltimore to Amsterdam, I'm like just staring out the window and I'm just thinking like duffel bag, duffel bag, duffel bag. Then I'm like, well, what am I gonna call this? And I was thinking of the spend the night bag, what they used to call it back in the day. Then I was like, nah. And I have a business called Late Night. So I'm like, I can't call it a late night bag because just I ain't trying to, yeah, I wanted to branch off and do my own thing. So I was just like, let's just call it an overnight bag. And then looking out the window, all I see was the crescent moon and the stars. And I'm like, oh man, this is amazing. Like the moon, the star, and then the over with the crescent moon. I'm like, this is different. You see what I'm saying? So I'll put the
Mhm.
star over the I and I put the crescent moon over the O. Well, where the O, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, yeah, this is some deep branding. Like it has so many meanings. And I just decided to rock with that.
All right, I like that. So when you was designing the bag, because I see the bags myself, I was very impressed with it. What's up, dude? Did you have any doubts when you were making the bag? Were you just confident automatically? Who was the first person you maybe approached with the bag? And were you nervous when you first started making the bags?
Nah, bro. So I first went to this manufacturer from Pakistan, and I had them, do a prototype for me, and they sent me back sewn leather together, and I was just looking at it like, yo, why is this joint so floppy? Like it had no structure. It was just like
Oh
four
man.
pieces of leather sewn together, and it didn't make sense to me. So I started doing more research, and I ended up finding the manufacturer I have now. So I found my manufacturer in a matter of three weeks. After getting in contact with the manufacturer, I pretty much picked the design and I started like altering it the way that I wanted it, what made sense for me, meaning measurements and, the pockets that I wanted in it and, everything from literally from the leather out. I built the bag from scratch. And what I ended up doing was once I got the first one, I noticed that there was some things that needed to be adjusted in the best way of putting it. I noticed that the leather was stretching on certain parts and it just didn't look good. You see what I'm
Okay.
saying? Like
Right.
it wasn't poorly designed, but it was just like an issue with the designing. So I went
Mm.
back in and I made the adjustments to the way that the structure was developed and redesigned certain, key components to the stitching. And once I made those adjustments, the bag started sitting better and it started having a shape. And once I got to the shape part, I started adding features like the trolley strap and a hidden pocket in the back and a USB port on the bags. So
Mm.
yeah, I kind of built it in three different phases. The first one was just finding the errors and things that I didn't like about the initial bag. But yeah, now I'm at the final product, and I even have like a extra large version of the bag for the artist that I'm dealing with that's touring months at a time. I have an extra large version of the bag that they can store up to 30 days worth of clothes in, and
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's crazy. It's
Mm.
crazy. So yeah, I did that for quite a few people. So yeah, that was pretty much the process.
Yo, this your boy Kenny D. Hey, I didn't mean to interrupt your show, but I just wanted to take a quick minute, just to let you guys know. If you want to see more dope interviews like this one, make sure you go on YouTube and check out Pimp Game Podcast. All right? And don't forget about our website, pimpgamepodcast.com, to see all your latest Pimp Game episodes. All right? We got you. Man, I'm done talking. Back to the show. So in terms of process and things of that nature, how important is it to have structure? Because a lot of people don't know that when you are doing entrepreneurship, when you are doing your own thing, people pay for structure. How important is it to have structure with you, even something such as a bag? How important is it to have that structure?
Oh man, structure in the bag sense is very important to me because you want your bag to be durable. You want it to hold shape. You want it to, keep its look. In a business aspect, you definitely need a structure in your business, making sure that your paperwork is correct, your LLCs, your business accounts, all of that stuff. But yeah, I went for one of the biggest manufacturer on the manufacturer part. I went for one of the biggest companies that work with like bigger brands. They do Coach and they do MK. So the company that I work with, I get the top quality for my brand. So yeah, it was very important just to make sure that you have structure, like I said, on both sides, whether it's the functionality, the shaping, or the bag itself, and on the business side when it comes to making sure that your paperwork is tight.
Wow. So let me ask you this. When you're coming to these companies to work with you, to partner with you, they don't have to say yes if they ain't feeling it. Let me ask you this. Were there a couple of companies that maybe they weren't filling the bag? Did that happen to you, or was everybody filling it off the rip?
Okay, so right now I'm only partnered with 2 companies that's actually selling my brand because my bags come packaged like to the T. So I've never had anybody say that they didn't like the product. Never.
Okay.
And I've worked with over 600 celebrities, and and I've had tons of sales. So it's more so now I'm trying to get my brand to the bigger, like someone that can control the masses for me, someone that can reach the masses for me, like a Damian John. That's why I entered his entrepreneurship program called Entrepreneurship Impact. Yeah, I just feel like my product is one of those products that came out swinging. Bro, I literally came out making sure my package was from the package to the quality of the bag, even giving people a certificate for the purchase of the bags. In case they ever have any issues, they can submit the ticket, they can submit their certificate back to me and we'll replace the bag. So yeah, I make sure that all my products are like from the top to the bottom. So
who was the first person to buy Bobby Daniels' bag? Who was the first, person to buy your bag?
First person was my big brother, Neo. So shout out to Neo.
Okay.
Yeah, Neo, when I took the bag to him, I had a red book bag. And when he saw it, he like looked at his Louis and was like, yeah, I'm good. Tossed that joint. He was like, yeah, I'm gonna rock overnight travel bags. And word to Neo, because he kept his word. Like he'd been rocking the bags for the last 2 years. So I've even made custom bags for him. So I made his tour bags. I did tour pieces, one being they both were crocodile mixed with pebble leather. And then I even put something very sentimental on the inside of the bag, for him to keep with him as he traveled. Who else? And then, like I said, I did the 30, pretty much the 30 days worth of clothes in the bag. So he got one of those duffels. And I most recently did a toiletry bag for his current tour. One of his ladies reached out, and shout out to my big sis. Yeah, she asked me to design something for him. So I designed something for him. Toiletry bag for him to take on tour.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So, in the midst of Neo buying your bag, were you a believer then? Like, yo, I got something here, or did it take a couple of more celebrities to buy it for you to be like, all right, yeah, this is it?
Nah, bro. When I first got my first bag, I knew it was it. I just looked at it and I was like, yeah, this is it. Like this is $1 million product. Yeah,
Mm,
so it was the very first joint that I got. I already knew what it was.
mm. Okay, okay. Well said, well said. So you're working with the Olympian Raven, the Hulk Sanders. Talk to us about that. How's that going? And where are you in the process with that?
Oh man, Raven, that's my twin. Like I love Raven to death. I designed Ravens bags for the 2024 Paris Olympics. So we
Mm,
did. I designed her bags that she took with her to Paris. We did a media run. NBC they covered the whole, sending her off to the Olympics. Fox and a couple other major broadcast stations. So yeah, we're in discussion of designing some more products and releasing some stuff together. But I have a couple working collaborations right now that we just waiting to see to come into fruition with some major celebrities, like really big names.
all right. So let me ask you this, because you mentioned collaborations. I was checking some things out. Marlon Wayans, it looks like you're collaborating with him on cigars, something having to do with cigars. I love cigars myself. How is that? And also, I know you're doing a collaboration with Fred Hammond as well. How are those two collaborations and how are they different from each other?
Oh man, shout out to Marlon. Like he's been literally like big bro since the day I met. Just such a positive person, man. Very inspirational. Yeah, we when I first met him, it's so funny because I used to say all the time that when I first meet him, I had to say "para conmigo." Which it was one of my favorite lines from the movie,
Right.
and when I saw him, I handed him the duffel bag and we talked for a quick second. And I'm not even gonna lie to you, like I'm still kind of like not really starstruck, but I'm still amazed. Like this is Marlon Wayans, and I was just happened to say "Para conmigo," and he looked at me like like what? And then he was like "Para conmigo," and he was like "Man, and we just bust all laughing because he caught on to what I was saying, but it
What
was
you was
just such
doing,
a
right.
moment. But yeah, after that, it was crazy because that night he told me that he had a cigar brand, that he was partnered with the actual cigar company. And after that night, it just happened to be very random. And I listen to God. Whenever God tells me to move, or whenever I
Mhm.
hear or feel something, like I follow through with that. So the next day, I happen to be chilling, and somebody else mentioned a cigar to me, and I'm not a smoker of cigars, but I'm just like, okay, like the second time. And then next week, I run into, I think, no, the weekend before Marlon, I was with Sid the Entertainer, D.L. Hughley, Michael Blackston, Earthquake, and it was like one or two other people that was there. I can't think of who the other comedians were, but anyway, they was telling me like I kept hearing cigars there. Like everybody was saying, "Oh, my cigar this, my cigar that," and then they was looking at my crossbody like, "Oh, my cigars will fit perfect in that crossbody," and I'm like, "Okay, cool." So when Marlon the following weekend when he mentioned it, I'm like, "Okay." This is the second weekend I done heard. This is like the sixth, seventh person that had mentioned a cigar to me. The next morning, my uncle called me. He's talking cigars, and I'm like, okay, hold up, something's here. Like I don't know what it is. Something's here. Then I was with Tommy Davidson the following weekend, and
Okay.
somebody else said cigar. And after they said it, I said, you know what? Let me look into it. So I started designing a cigar case, and I sent it over to Marlon. Like, hey, big bro, like, what you think? And he was like, bro, that's fire. So I said, cool,
Mm.
say less. I said, I'm about to get these things made. He's like, all right, cool. Let me see what they look like. And, we can rock out from there. But since I put it in the air, bro, so many people have reached out. I mean, also, even celebrities have been reaching out like, hey, that cigar case ready? That cigar case ready? So, yeah, it's definitely hitting. It's hitting
Mm.
major. Like, this cigar case is going to be a big thing. Okay, so shout out to Uncle Fred. Um, but it was so man, listen, Fred was always such an inspiration to me from growing up. Like his album Purpose by Design saved my life, literally. at a time my brother was murdered. That was
Mm.
literally the only thing I could listen to. Create Me a Clean Heart was like one of the biggest records for me. So it was always a thing that I've always wanted to meet Fred. He never came to DC though. So he
Mm.
never came to DC the whole time that I was growing up, which, or at least I didn't know about it. But anyway, I found out he was coming to DC, and one of my big brothers named Mike reached out like, hey, Dietrich Haddon, wants to, connect you with Fred. I'm like, yo, that's crazy because Dietrich is also one of them, one of them artists for me. So Dietrich connected me with Fred. I went and I met him in person. When I first met him, I low key was starstruck when I met Fred because I had so much to tell him I couldn't say nothing.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? It's like I
Right,
had
right.
so much personal stuff to say, but it was a room full of people, and I just didn't want to be embarrassed. So I just was just like, "All right, nice to meet you." He shook his hand. It was just like, "All right." Yeah, I couldn't
Oh my
say
goodness.
anything. So it was crazy because I told Mike, I'm like, bro, I had so much to tell him, I couldn't tell him much of anything. So he was like, look, let me connect you with his nephew. Like, maybe you could tell him and forward the message. So, I had a nice long conversation with Ray. Shout out to Ray because that's family. Um, so they came to DC a couple months later. I had right before I got deployed. So I
Mm.
go catch the show, connect with Fred again. This time I took him a backpack. I think the first time I took him one of the red duffel bags and a red backpack. Then I took him this time the black duffel bag and a black backpack. So we ended up sitting down talking for a minute. And I don't know why. I just had the idea, like, let me design something for him. Like I really, because he's always been an inspiration to me. Let me design something. It'd be an honor to have him wear something that I've designed. So
Mm.
the second show, I came up with like, let me design something. The third show, which happened to be right after the deployment, I came home, and then I think they came. What was it, like in September or something like that? So I went to the show, and I had at this point I had designed something, so I showed it to him, and he was like, "Nephew, this is hitting. Like this is it." He's like,
Mm.
"This is amazing." So I'm like, "All right, cool." I got his logo, and I threw the logo on there. Then I designed the inside for him. And by the third show, the third show was actually on his birthday in DC. The plan was to have the bags by the third show, but the manufacturer didn't get, like, they had a hiccup or whatever in the production, couldn't get it to me by the third show. But then he actually came back to DC for something else, and I was able no. So the third show I saw him, and that was not too long. That was December 20th, and I showed him the pictures of the bags that were done, and they were actually in transit. So once I got them around January 10th, I went ahead and mailed them out, and yeah. So he was just like, "Yo, let's do this. Like, let's put these bags out." So now we're talking, releasing the custom merch for him.
Mm. So let me ask you this: in terms of a custom merch that somebody wants to get done, can you do anything, or is some things you're limited in, or maybe you won't do, or can Mr. Bobby Bags do everything?
So I can do whatever I want in the design process with creating bags. I don't do a lot of customs. I do customs for those who inspire me. So I don't just make custom bags for everybody. It's something about that person that inspired me to do something, or inspire me at some point in my life, that I make custom pieces for. So it's not
Mm.
just anybody that's going to have a, custom overnight travel bag designed by myself. So those that I do create these for, they are, special people to either me, or at some point in my life they inspire me. So
Okay, well said, well said, well said. So Jim Jones, I was checking out your IG a little bit. I saw you with Jim Jones. What's up? Dipset in the building. What are you working on with Jim Jones? Are you able to tell us right here on the Pimp Game Podcast? What's up with Bobby Bags and Mr. Jim Jones?
shout out to Capo. All I can say is that we working on something.
Okay.
Like, it's still new. It's still new.
Okay.
I'm bouncing back ideas right now, just trying to see what we can make happen. But I'm very confident in my designs. I'm very confident in the quality. very confident we can knock this collaboration out. It's just, but like I said, it's just in baby stages.
Okay, so we can't get it right here. A little sneak peek of what's going on between you and Jim Jones. What's up? We can't get
Hey,
something.
we working on 3 different designs. That's the
Okay,
best I can tell you. Working on 3 different designs.
that's good.
Um,
That's good enough.
it's fly. That's all I can say. It's fly.
Okay, I like that. I like that. Bobby
She
Bags and Jim
you know
Jones.
how it is.
I like that. So let me ask you this in terms of, because you are working with Jim Jones, some other people for that matter. Is there maybe a celebrity out there or someone out there you want to work with that maybe you haven't come encounter with them yet? There's someone out there that is on your radar?
I would say I'm open to any collaboration. I'm
Mm.
I'm just down to see who believe in a product. Right now, I will say this though. I did do a custom bag. Bro, I was 2 seconds from meeting this person, and literally like I definitely wanted to meet him just because of who it is, bro. But at the Philly versus Lakers game, we were backstage or back at the arena, and 2 seconds from meeting Braun, and something happened backstage, and I wasn't able to meet him. So I am working on something special for Braun that I
Mm.
want to get to him. But that's yeah, that's about it.
So let's clarify now. Is that LeBron James or his son Bronny James? Which one?
LeBron James.
Okay.
Shout out to Bronny too. Nah, shout out to
Okay.
Bronny too. Because Bronny,
Okay.
his time is gonna come. Like people sleeping on him, he's definitely gonna develop into what he needs to develop into. But shout out to Bronny and yeah, it was LeBron James. AD, I had just missed AD. He just walked by, but it was a couple Eagles players back there, so I did get a chance to meet them, and yeah, it was a dope experience overall. But I'm working on some dope stuff for the that I want to present to some of the NBA teams. One being the Lakers. So we shall see if I could get an NBA collab.
All right. I like that. I like that. I like that. So you are doing some pop-ups at the Baltimore Comedy Club. What's going on with the pop-ups? What is Mr. Bobby Bags, aka Bobby Daniels? What are you doing at the Baltimore Comedy Factory?
Oh, so I haven't set a schedule yet, but Overnight Travel Bags will be doing a pop-ups at Baltimore Comedy Factory. Maybe 1 or 2 nights a weekend, probably in the next 2 weeks. Again, I haven't been able to set a schedule. It's just so much going on. I think I got like 5 tours coming up that I'm supposed to be working with the different artists, jumping on and off the tour. So I'm trying to figure out a schedule right now, bro. There's just so much going on.
So let me ask you this, because you are such high demand right now. What is up with the tours? How many? You said five. What is it? 5 cities. How long are you expecting the tour? Is this a 3-month thing? 2 quarters, 3 quarters, the whole year? What's going on with Bobby Daniels and touring?
Oh no, I just jump on and off tours. Depending on who's where, and I have a lot of different brand ambassadors that I work with. So, if they on tour, I come on and look out for their co-tour partners. Like, for instance, I jump on a tour like Neo's tour. I jump on tour and gift the other artists that's on tour with him.
Hmm.
As a show of love from the artists that I'm collaborating with or working with. So, like for instance, Neo's going on tour. Well, he's on tour now with Mary J. Blige and Mario. Mario,
Hmm.
I've been in the room with Mario a couple times, but I never had product for him. So this time when they're on tour, I'm gonna be able to go out and bless him and Mary J. Um, who else? Like I got people that's on tour, like in the comedy circuit, like the Chico Beans and Carlos Millers that I worked with once before. That I'm gonna be jumping on their tours, gifting them, and some of the other artists that's on tour with them. Cat Williams tour coming up, and shout out to Monique and Corey B. I'm gonna be jumping on tour with them and Cat Williams people and blessing that tour. So I jump on and off tours, find out where they are, different cities, different artists, and just connecting with people.
All right. So is there a tour spot that Bobby Daniels is not willing to go to, or you willing to hit any city as long as it's in the U.S. or even out of the U.S.? Is there a place that you wouldn't tour to?
Nah, bro,
Okay.
I didn't tour to over 40 different countries. So I'd have been all over the U.S. So I mean, I've been touring all over the world. So at this point, it's just, like I said, whatever my schedule permits, because I still hold a federal government job outside of this.
Okay.
So yeah, between whatever I could fit within working at my federal job and then doing this and then pop-ups and family and yeah, everything else. I just try to make
Hmm.
it work.
Okay. Well said. Well said. Well said. So you mentioned being starstruck. Does Mr. Bobby Daniels, aka Bobby Bags, have a celebrity crush out there? Do you have a celebrity crush out there in the industry? Maybe you want to give a PSA, maybe you don't. Do you have one out there in the industry?
Nah, no celebrity crush.
Okay. Okay. All right.
No
So
celebrity.
today's quick topic of the show is Irv Gotti. The music industry was hit with a devastating blow the other day with him passing away. He had a stroke or two. Have you ever gotten the chance to meet Irv Gotti yourself, or maybe in contact maybe with someone close to him? What's your thoughts on the passing of Irv Gotti?
Oh man, rest in peace, to Irv. I actually met Irv one time, and I was actually young. This was during
Mm,
I mean, bro, when I say young, like 16. Back in '96 when they did I think it was '96, but when they did the Rough Riders. It was the Rough Rider and who else? The Rockefeller Rough Rider tour. But it was literally everybody on that tour, from DMX, Jay Z, Method Man, Redman, Ja Rule. Oh man, like the list was crazy. But I got snuck backstage, and I happened to meet him. I met him. I met X. Uh, I met a bunch of people, Memphis Bleak, and all these other guys when I was 16 backstage. So that was the only time I come across Irv. But we did have a lot of mutual friends. It sucked because my big brother was really close to him, and he actually showed me a video like literally 3 days before he passed of
mm.
Irv, him, and a bunch of other people playing Monopoly. Like they was playing Monopoly for real money, and it was like, yeah, some
Oh wow.
prominent business people around the table, like, yeah, just having it up. And it just looked like a good time. So he was saying that he wanted to introduce me. And then a couple days later, we got the news. So like I said, rest in peace to Irv Gotti, because you never want to see, people that literally changed the face of the music industry, you know, like that go away. It's
Mm.
always a sad day. Yeah.
Okay. So for that young girl out there who wants to be the next Bobby Daniels, that young boy out there who want to be the next Bobby Daniels, what would you say to them if they want to maybe be an entrepreneur like you, taking out the trash when he's young, doing the travel bags, security guard, all of that, McDonald's, everything? What would you say to them if they want to get into the industry doing their own travel bags?
I always tell them don't quit. It's gonna be a lot of hard days, a lot of hard days. I mean,
Mm,
it's been days where like I didn't want to get out of bed, but I had to push myself to get out of bed because finances wasn't right, or again, me coming up with this product, sometimes I invested too much in myself, or I pushed myself to the limits where I sacrificed a lot, and I could have sacrificed or lost everything, but I was betting on me. So at the end of the day, I say never give up, grind harder, be smart with your money, pay attention with the people to the people that you have around you, because your network is your net worth. Yeah, that's it. Just keep your eye on God and keep God at the center of everything.
if someone wants to work with you, maybe partner up with you, something like that, go on tour, whatever, want you to do a collab, a custom make a bag, how do they get in contact with Bobby Daniels?
Oh, y'all can find me at My Overnight Travel Bags on Instagram, YouTube. I would say X, but I really don't use X, but I have a page. Instagram, I'm always communicating with people back and forth. Or y'all can reach out to me via email at myovernighttravelbags at gmail.com.
All right. Well said, well said, well said. So, for all those people that have been rocking with you from Gateway Gardens all the way to McDonald's, your first bag that you taking out the trash for, overnight travel bags, all of that. Any final thoughts or shout outs for your fans before we sign off on Pimp Game?
Man, I say shout out to everybody that's supporting me, everybody that believe in me, everybody that prays for me, because it's a lot of times that people praying for you that you don't know, but you know that somebody's standing in that gap. So thank you for everybody that prayed for me, everybody that supports me, the messages from my brothers. You know, again, as an entrepreneur, sometimes even holding a full-time job, it be days, like I said, where it gets very uninspiring to do anything. You know, like a yeah, it be hard days, bro. So again, I really appreciate everybody that love me, that pour into me, that reach out to me, that talk to me, that supports me. So shout out to everybody that's in my corner.
All right. Well said. Well said. So it was a good show. Yo, tell everybody who you chilling with.
Man, I'm chilling with Kenny D. Catch him Wednesdays at the Pimp Game Podcast.
All right, and that concludes our show for this evening. But before I let you go, I'd like to thank all my viewers out there for tuning in. And make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. That's right, you're going to subscribe and make sure you turn those notifications on. So when we upload videos, you are the first to get it. And last but not least, we'd like to thank the one and only Bladensburg High School's finest. That's right, Mr. Bobby Daniels, the owner of Overnight Travel Bags, a.k.a. Bobby Bags, for blessing us with his presence on the show. All right, see you next time on Pimp Game. You don't want to miss it. Holla.